Class 1 win. But Dan Dawson joining me in commentary for this one, and Paul Nicholson saying he has a bit of a score to settle with Big Ben this weekend.
He does. It was curious talking to Paul after his victory against Martin Schindler, one in which he played very well. The average ended up being around the 92-93 mark, but it was a lot higher than that, in the high 90s for a significant chunk of the game. Well over 100 after 4 legs. But it's not Benito as such that Paul Nicholson has history with. It's just the fact that he played Benito in his last appearance at the World Championship, was knocked out in the first round in the 2015 World Championship, so a couple of years ago. And he genuinely thought his career was over. He walked off stage after losing 3-2, left his darts up there, said, I don't know what I'm going to do, don't think I'm going to carry on. But just talking to him after the game with Martin Schindler, he was obviously happy, delighted with his win and how he'd played.
First leg, Benito to throw first. Game on.
But after, you know, a few moments revelling in his victory over Martin Schindler last night, he immediately just switched and said, I can't wait to play Benito. And he has got a score to settle. You know, I thought my career was over when he beat me, and now I'm back. I wasn't quite ready for it, to be honest. It was a very sudden change of mood in the conversation. And he does appear to have his game face on, despite the questionable little shimmy he gave us on the walk-on.
Yes, certainly he looks well up for it, that's for sure.
But he will have his hands full against Benito van der Pas, number 4 seed here for a reason this weekend. Won 3 titles on the floor last year. Has made a European Tour final. That was in Riesa a couple of years ago, beaten by Michael Smith. Michael Smith's not here anymore, of course. Michael Smith dumped out this afternoon by Rob Cross, a man making his debut on the Euro Tour and playing some excellent darts this year. His first full year as a PDC pro. Paul Nicholson starting from scratch as well, of course, coming through Q School.
Yes, I think that was quite an experience.
180.
As Benito hits his first 180. I think it was sort of quite a eureka moment for Paul Nicholson, having to go back to Q School, or go to Q School for the first time and get his tour card and do it the hard way, as they say.
75.
And as you say, almost starting with a clean slate, really. It's year 0 for the asset.
Oh, lovely stuff.
104.
Very nearly a fantastic 124 checkout for Benito van der Pas, using 2 trebles. Was given the luxury of being able to do that by Nicholson not being down to a finish, so didn't need to go for 14 bullseye. But Benito will come back looking 65. At double 10 for a 13 darter, and a very strong start to this game.
Getting short in the first leg.
And that'll do. 15 darter, Benito van der Pas.
Second leg, Paul to throw first.
Does have one other win against Paul Nicholson. They've only met twice. There was the World Championship clash, which we talked about, but also he beat him 6-1 convincingly on the Pro Tour last August. That was when Paul was really struggling with injuries and form and all sorts. He actually came back into a bit of form at the back end of last year and very nearly did enough to keep hold of his tour card, but missed out. Had to go back to Q School,
36.
Won his tour card outright on the final day, but he'd done enough over the 3 days. He actually got to the decider on day 3, was beaten by Richie Burnett, the former world champion, whom he beat in qualifying for this tournament, as well as Daryl Gurney. Then he's seen off Martin Schindler, perhaps the second most high-profile player in Germany right now.
100.
So he's putting results together, but he's only had one run to a last 16 so far on the tour this year. As Benito builds it up, 177.
And he also has the ongoing injury woes as well, Paul, doesn't he? The tendons, and also shoulder injury he's carrying.
Yeah, he's got some weird ointment on his shoulder to deal with it.
Scrapping. Yes.
100.
It's quite an operation, I understand, because he sticks it on himself in his hotel room, and it's basically trying to tape up your shoulder.
Looking in the mirror.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy. You wonder how effectively you can do it. But Benito, this is effective. Very effective. 2-1-8, he's down at 177 in the opening 1.5 legs from Benito van der Pas. Gives him an opportunity to break the throw. He's on a 12-darter in the opening leg. Could see a 12-darter here.
Yes, looking good, the number 4 seed. The winner of this meeting,
100.
Joe Cullen,
If you
who
require
looked very good as
108.
well in our previous match on stage, beating Vincent van der Voort.
Oh, finds his way through for double 14, and that is 108 checkout for a 12-dart leg. That is superb stuff
Third
from
leg,
Benito.
to throw first.
2-0. Paul Nicholson being put in a position he has not found himself in so far this weekend. Trailing by a couple of legs.
59.
And under pressure. We did see him make his return to the European Tour in the opening event of the year in Hildesheim. His first Euro Tour appearance for 3 years. I think that probably highlights the struggles that Paul has had.
Yeah.
But he won his opening game there.
100.
Before going out in the next round.
$80.
Better from Nicholson. A lot better. That's his first maximum, and it's his turn to attack the Benito van der Pas throw here. 141 points clear. Benito trying to erase that.
100.
Benito, the latest in the crop of young Dutch players. And a tall lad as well, hence the nickname.
57.
I mean, rather like Vincent van der Voort, who we spoke about, myself and Chris in the previous match, the back problems he's been suffering. And his height is almost sort of looking down and throwing downwards, and Benito in a similar situation with his height, but let's see what Paul can do from here. I'll just look to tidy it up, checks what he's on.
88 remaining.
I see Benito's on the big 170.
96. Benito, you require 170.
Well, it's just for a hold of throw, but a vital hold of throw it would be to deny Nicholson a chance to break back, and it could happen. Oh. We saw the wobble in the original dart. I don't know if that's because it clipped it or just with it hitting the board and it was a little bit loose, but not a million miles away, far enough for Paul Nicholson to get the opportunity. Now, treble 20 gives him 2 darts to double 4. Oh my word, well he's gone treble 12 and hit the treble 5, so 13 for tops. And there it is, Paul Nicholson, a dodgy first dart, but a great recovery, and he does break back immediately.
Full flag, Paul to throw
yes,
first.
immediate break back.
Game on.
And that may just settle Paul down and allow him to push on in this match in a bid to reach round 3 here in Saarbrücken.
60.
Both of these guys have 3 PDC titles to their name. All of Benito's came last year on the floor. Had a great year in the Players' Championship Series. He was involved in more finals as well. He was about 1 in 5 finals involved Benito van der Pas. He won 3 of them. Paul Nicholson's all came back in 2011, including one of the big ones, the Players' Championship Finals.
100.
Put him on the verge of a Premier League spot, and I would think that Benito van der Pas, if he can put in another year this year, like he did last year, then he is going to be 96. A very real consideration for a spot in the Premier League. Just needs to take that next step and do something big on the telly, Benito. He's had 3 runs to the last 16 of the World Championship. Had a quarter-final at the Grand Prix, quarter-final at the Players' Championship Finals, but Quarterfinals aren't
100.
really enough to grab the attention of the selection panel. Not enough to justify the spot in there, particularly when you've got other candidates like Darryl Gurney, who's
100.
made a couple of semi-finals, Gerwyn Price, who's got to made a final. Those two guys involved in the World Series of darts this year, of course.
Yeah, that'll be great for them, and it will be great to see them in the World Series.
But Benito has been one of these guys who's put in consistent displays, but his best stuff has come away from the TV cameras. Gave Gary Anderson a very stern examination at the World Championship. Only got 25 grand for that run to the last 16 of the Worlds this year. That's the same as winning one of these tournaments.
57.
I know there's a lot of money. It's heavily weighted towards the World
156.
Championship, as you would expect it to be. It's the biggest tournament of the year. Paul Nicholson looking at a 156. Benito on 151. Similar finishes, but Paul does get the advantage of throwing two in the same treble bed, which can help. He's not found it with either of them, though, so...
100.
Good last dart, just in between the pair of them.
51.
What can Benito do here? Well, he's not going to take it out. There's an awkward lie on the 19, so
99.
comes back up and a good
We
recovery.
require 56.
So a little to choose between them score-wise. But double top for two apiece here. Double 10. Can't do it.
36.
And a chance
Benito,
for
you require
Benito
52.
to extend his lead. Looking at double 16. Double 8. And he does
And
it
a full flag.
for a
Benito
3-1 lead.
Vanderpass. The flag Benito to throw first. Game on.
Well, it could have been a level game at two apiece, but Benito Vanderpass, having been broken, breaks back immediately. 3 consecutive breaks of throw we've had in this one, and that means that Benito Vanderpass is in charge as things stand, and that only further cements his dominance. It's 3 maximums and a 177 for Big Ben. And Nicholson's going to have to recapture some of the form he showed in the opening legs against Martin Schindler, because Benito Vanderpass
100.
has started this pretty impressively, it has to be said.
Yes, averaging just over a ton at the moment. And this will add to it.
140.
Well, 5 perfect darts. He was looking to be on the 9 darter. And Benito's such a guy who moves around the ball, switches down to 19s and sometimes 18s on a very regular basis. Even when he's got darts in those treble beds he's going for. I'm surprised he didn't just go for the open bed. He looked at it and thought it must have been a help rather than a hindrance to following in there with a 6th dart. He was unable to do so.
60.
But he's still 222 points clear. Nicholson needing... Well, he's not going to leave a finish. Even a maximum here leaves him 163.
Next on stage, another young Dutchman you may have heard of, Michael van
59.
Gerwen.
Oh, yeah.
He can play a bit, apparently.
21.
I think I've
He's
heard
half
of him.
decent.
I think I've heard of him, yeah.
116. He's got a bit of time.
85.
And tidies up nicely to leave double 18 on his return.
Yeah, doesn't mind double 18 Benito Vanderpass. The way his darts do kick up. They do kick up a lot, Benito's darts, and sometimes they go in at slightly odd angles, but if he just misses outside, it should be quite a big target for him to try
100.
and bounce off and
Benito
into the double bed.
36.
Prefer to see it go straight in. It's not a great deal of help. That one is, though. And it's a surprise that he doesn't follow it. However, he has missed outside with all 3, so he is going to come back looking at the same target. Nicholson, no matter how much of a return to form he's had, can't take out 184 in 3 darts.
81. Benito, you require 36.
So he'll go again. This double 18 does go inside this time, so double 9. I want to stay on the outer edges of that, and well,
No score.
busts his score.
All you require
So then,
103.
a chance for Nicholson.
He started off this leg, Benito, with 5 perfect darts. The last 6 he's thrown haven't been very good at all. A couple were close, I'll give him that. That wasn't where it needed to be. Shake of the head from Paul Nicholson. He's looking for the treble 16 that would have given him a dart at a double.
55. Benito requires...
Third time lucky, Benito. We've had 3 goes at this. Oh dear. Oh dear.
No score.
And thrown away in anger, Benito van der Pas. Not often you see him lose his rag, Benito. He's usually a pretty cool customer. You can see him palms upturned, looking at his friends in the crowd, not quite sure how this has all gone so wrong.
Oh.
Because that was 5 perfect darts to start the leg and 8 darts missed at a double by the end of it. And Paul Nicholson has somehow broken back.
Yeah, well,
Game on.
That could prove to be pivotal in this game. With numerous attempts at the double for Benito.
60.
And Paul Nicholson steps up to say thank you very much and keeps him right in this game.
97.
Yeah, not pretty reading there for Benito van der Pas. 20% on the doubles. You're going to have to score excellently if you're going to win games with 20% checkout rates. Either that or just hope that your opponent is equally profligate when it comes to finishing off late.
100.
And not surprisingly, that's really killed off his 3-dart average as well, Benito. Those missed doubles.
140.
As we said, Joe Cullen awaits the winner of this one. This is the same half of the draw as Michael van Gerwen, but the winner of this would not be scheduled to meet MVG until the semi-finals. It's the same quarter of the draw. Fascinating little game we've got tomorrow in the 3rd round between Simon Whitlock, who was impressive against Darren Webster, coming from 3-0 down to win 6-3, and Rob Cross, who is having an absolute dream debut on the European Tour and has dropped a grand total of 3 legs, despite taking on a former BDO major finalist in Jeffrey de Graaf and a 3-time Euro Tour winner Michael Smith.
Yeah, looking impressive. Rob Cross, certainly one to watch.
100.
Nicholson unable to leave a finish. Van der Pas gets 2 visits from here. Going to stay up there. Oh, well, he's gone for the 18s, and the treble would leave double 16. But Nicholson will have hope because he's only had 4 darts at double. He's hit 2 of them. And Benito has just had that nightmare of a leg where he missed 8 darts for it and allowed Paul to sneak up behind him.
He requires 68.
The Asset has given himself a 2-dart checkout, ready to strike if Benito fails to take this out. But Benito doesn't fail to take it out, and he can't quite understand how that was so easy when it was so troublesome in the last leg.
7th leg, Benito to throw first.
And that dart looked like it was hanging on to that treble 20 for dear life, but did stay in there for Benito to restore that 2-leg advantage over Paul Nicholson.
59.
With the Australian flag beside his name, of course, representing Australia.
Yeah, the Aussie Geordie written across the collar of his shirt.
Yes, and now residing in East Sussex.
100.
Yeah, he was left with a quandary,
60.
Paul Nicholson. Obviously, he'd done quite a bit of commentary work, so I'm commentating on the Champions League of Darts. He was commentating on the Lakeside. Obviously, he does a bit of this when he's not qualified for the European Tour events. But as a dart player, it's only the last few months where things have really turned around for him. And he's started to believe that he can remain competitive at the top level. And he's battling hard in this one. But he was considering potentially going back to work. I mean, he used to be sort of council admin kind of work, certainly when he was in Australia. He was genuinely considering having to go back and do a day job. Things are looking up for the assets.
60.
Not especially in this game.
No, but great to see a general trend back upwards of his darting career trajectory, if I can say the word.
140. We require 161.
Well, it's Paul Nicholson who now has 2 visits to see off one of the big finishers. And he'll be happy, I would think, just to leave himself on a double now. Does he stay there or does he look at treble 17? He does look at the treble. Does he go for it? You're a showman, Paul. Come on.
129.
Disgraceful behaviour from Paul Nicholson.
Yeah, happy to settle for safety with the 32 rather than be a crowd pleaser on this occasion.
Well, I think it still would have been the biggest check out of the weekend had he hit it. But I tell you what, when you lay up like that, you best hit it when you return to the board. Otherwise, you can look a bit silly. Oh dear, Paul.
No score.
Well, and that is a real opportunity for Benito van der Pas.
Benito, you require 79.
To go to within 1 leg of victory. And a 3rd round meeting with Joe Cullen. He wants double top. And he hits double top.
7th leg. Benito van der Pas.
Well, they're the kind of checkouts that win you games. Those ones just below 100. I know the big checkouts are the ones that everybody wants to see, but when you can reliably take out things like 79 and 82, taking it out last dart, when your opponent's already on a finish, they can turn games in your favour. And it certainly has done for Benito van der Pas, because the difference there between 4-3 and 5-2 is monumental. Paul Nicholson needs to win 4 on the spin. And that is going to be difficult against the world number 15. Even though, I mean, he's only averaging 91, but that is dragged down by all those missed doubles earlier in the game.
60.
Better, and there's loads of room.
100.
Disappointing there for Nicholson. You could see just how much red baize there was to, or red sisal there was to aim for. Watching too much of the snooker.
97.
Unable to follow that first dart into the treble 20. However, all he can do is take this leg by leg. He's got the throw in this leg.
And the packed crowd here at the Silent Hole, watching on
45.
respectfully and with interest, but may well be recharging their glasses ahead of the arrival of Michael van Gerwen, the Green Machine, on stage against Ronnie Hybrex.
Yeah, Mighty Mike versus the Rebel on next. Mensur Suljovic. He ain't German, but he's German-speaking.
83.
Best player from a German-speaking country, the Austrian, taking on Mark Walsh. Looking to make the final day of a European tour for the first time since, well,
30.
a long while.
Yeah, it's good to see Walshy back in action.
Peter Snakebite Wright, always popular in Germany, always popular everywhere, but especially so in Germany. He takes on Christoph Ratajski. It's 2 former Lakeside World Champions from the Netherlands squaring off as Christian Kistenjella-Klaassen go toe-to-toe in the penultimate game of the night. And Dave Chisnall, 204 averages and 2 victories on Thursday night in the Premier League. He takes on Nathan Aspinall, a former World Youth Championship runner-up. Benito van der Pas has applied some pressure to this. Paul Nicholson,
50.
18 for double 16. He'll get 2 darts at the double, assuming he doesn't miss the big number. And if he doesn't take it out, Benito van der Pas is going to have a go at closing out the match for a 6-2 win on 97. So this needs to go, Paul. And it does go this time.
Flag, Paul Nicholson. 9th flag, Benito to throw first. Game on.
So another leg on the board for Nicholson. But van der Pas with the throw here for the match.
60.
And the way those darts were laying, the first 2 pretty much blocked that treble 20 bed, but Benito persevered.
Well, by my reckoning, that's the first time that Paul Nicholson has managed to hold his throw in this entire game, and
60.
I think it tells the story of what has been a strange match, but also one where Nicholson is not quite been
44.
strong enough on his own throw to just really apply the pressure to the number 4 seed. Not been a million miles off, only a couple of points in the averages, but there's been some key points. You can see there, only 1 point, and less than a point in the average there, and that'll drag his up a little bit. Higher than Benito's now. Benito has just taken out a couple of shots at the right time.
Yeah, 15 and a 12 there.
Yeah, the 12 darter with that 108 checkout just to put himself into the lead and a bit of daylight, and he's never relinquished that lead, Benito van der Pas.
60.
Not been quite the electrifying stuff
60.
that we have seen from Benito on occasion. The 2 times he's been beaten on the European Tour this year. One by Jelle Klaassen in Hildesheim in the quarterfinals. He still averaged 99. He was beaten by Jelle's 100 average. And he averaged 97 against Roby John Rodriguez at this stage in Jena last weekend. And Roby John just nicked that 6-4.
60.
So, in a couple of his European tours so far, he's played pretty well. He's just been pipped by his opponent. Now, this hasn't been quite the standard we've seen
54.
from Benito van der Pas over the course of the year, but it has been enough so far, and he's down to 158. He's going to get a go at that for the match. Nicholson has given himself an opportunity of a break, though. This needs to be a good setup shot. Oh, they look a bit weak, those darts, not giving it a chance.
65. Benito, you require 158.
Well, it would be a great way to go out, but the 158 won't go, so, well,
43.
bit of a fly with that third
We
dart.
require 116.
And does this give Paul Nicholson a glimmer of hope of making an epic fight back? Treble 20 leaves, double 18 for 5-4.
98.
Staring at his hand.
Benito, you require 150.
Don't know if he let go of that mistakenly. Treble 19 for double 19. Matched up Benito van der Pas, and he pins it. Double 19 saves Benito. He looks a little bit sheepish. It wasn't a stunning display from the number 4 seed here this weekend, but in the end, it was just enough to bring Paul Nicholson's campaign to an end. 6-3 sees Benito van der Pas through to the last 16. He will face Joe Cullen, and Cullen has already signalled his intent this weekend, producing a 98 average in his victory against Vincent van der Voort. It will be another Dutchman whom he faces tomorrow afternoon in the last 16. Paul Nicholson exits the stage. You'll go a quick couple of words with Big Ben, and then it's another Dutchman, Mighty Mike. Michael van Gerwen opens his campaign against the rebel Ronnie Huybrechts.
Was not his A game, right?
The whole year is not my A game, but I practice every day a couple of hours, and I keep fighting, and I'm happy with the win.
Is it to be top 16? Is it more relaxing, or does it mean more pressure to stay there and expectations are there?
It's not more pressure, but the Euro Tour is more pressure, because when you lose, you don't have your ranking points, so you have to win at least one game. And yeah, what can I say? I'm playing really bad the last few months, but I keep practicing, and every win is a win, and I will come back.
That's good. We see you tomorrow again. Benito van der Pas.